Today, I want to share with you the one hiking technique that I believe everybody should try at least once. This is something that I use to make my hikes more stimulating, more interesting, and honestly, just more enjoyable. The best part about this technique is discovering things about nature and yourself that you just can't learn when you stick to the trail. That's right. In this video, we're talking about hiking off trail. So I've hiked thousands of miles on trails, but I've also more recently been creating my own backcountry routes off trail in wilderness areas across the US. And I love both. I love hiking on a trail, but there's this magical quality about hiking off trail that you just can't get if you're always on a path. When a lot of us go hiking, and I'm very guilty of this, we kind of treat it as like a point A to point B mission. It's like you get to the trailhead and you have a viewpoint or something at the end of the hike, and you kind of zone out between your trail and that viewpoint. And, you know, I love hiking for fitness and to kind of accomplish that task. But I find that sometimes it can detract from just the experience of being out in nature. If you can relate to this, try this the next time you're on a busy trail. Take just 20 steps off the path and sit down and notice how many people see you. You know, in this modern world, we're all so tied up in our to-do lists, tasks to be accomplished. You know, we're all busy, right? When I get out into the woods, a lot of times my main goal is to kind of disconnect from all that stuff. And sometimes I find that if I'm hiking in that way of trying to accomplish the hike, that it kind of disconnects me from the actual experience of being outside. So that's where wandering comes in. And I think wandering can be a beautiful kind of opposite of hiking. Even though you're doing the same thing, you're out in the woods, you're taking a walk, there's something about being on a trail it's like following a story. It's like reading your favorite novel. The trail takes these twists and turns, and you can almost anticipate them. You know, the trail's coming up to a steep ridge, you know there's going to be some switchbacks. If it's going down towards a cliff, you know the trail's going to drop off quickly. And the thing about a trail is that it's a story that somebody else wrote. The beautiful thing about getting off trail and wandering in the woods is that you become the author of that story. It gives you 360 degrees of potential for exploration. If you want to go check out that cool tree on the ridgeline, walk straight to it. If you want to go down to the creek that you can hear down in that valley, you can do that. Now, there are obviously some concerns with leaving the trail, the main one being getting lost. But luckily, we all walk around with, you know, a GPS unit right in our pocket. It's our cell phone. And I recommend using an app, a navigation app like OnX or All Trails that allows you to track your route and kind of leave a breadcrumb trail and to be able to just follow that right back to the trail. Now, if you're doing any serious backcountry travel, long distance routes across wilderness areas, it's really important that you don't do that unless you have some experience with a map and compass and you have multiple forms of navigation with you, and probably be good to brush up on your wilderness skills. But for what I'm talking about here, this is something that's available to anybody and that you can do in a park. You know, you don't have to be out in the wilderness to do this. The idea is just to pique your awareness, to notice things that you wouldn't normally notice if you're hiking as a workout. So doing a little exploration off trail is also a great time to strengthen your inner sense of direction. You know, you can use those apps, but I try to keep my phone away as much as possible. Take your time and remember to look behind you. This is something I even like to do when I'm hiking on trail, is to just every once in a while stop and turn around. And it's amazing how your perspective changes when you notice what's behind you. And really try to do this out there when you're wandering, is be aware of what you just walked through and where you're going, and pick out some permanent features on the landscape. One of my favorite ways to navigate when I'm exploring off trail is to just follow a permanent feature in the landscape. So I'll pick a creek or a ridgeline and just follow that for a while. Wandering off trail can really strengthen your intuition. And that's one of the main ways that I navigate when I'm off trail, is to just take a moment, look around the landscape, see something that interests you, that piques your curiosity, and head that direction. And there's some really great ways to practice awareness out there when you're on a wander. Something I like to do is to try to extend my ears out onto the landscape and to try to listen for the quietest sound I can hear or the farthest sound away I can hear, and just take a moment and do that. And you'd be amazed sometimes you do that and you hear things that you would never hear if you're just trompsing around. And I've seen many animals that way. Just the other day, I was out on a wander, heard some rustling in the bushes, stopped for a moment, and saw a grouse wandering around in the brush. And that was really cool. That's the kind of stuff that normally you're trompsing through the woods and you come up on something like a grouse and it'll just jump up and fly away. And it scares you, you scare it. But if you take a moment, get quiet and listen, you can see some beautiful things. You might feel kind of silly at first, feeling like you're not accomplishing or completing anything, but that is the point. Wandering, I think, is a needed respite from this crazy world that never seems to slow down. The focus is not on the destination, but instead on the journey itself. Wandering is a great way to increase your connection with nature and to build some confidence in yourself and your abilities. You never know what you might find out there, so give it a try. Let me know how it goes.